Just do want to welcome everybody, and I'm Dr. Joe Pojman, Executive Director of Texas Alliance for Life. And let's see, we do have an elected official, Member Tom Maynard. He's from the State Board of Education, District 10. Thank you. And a Leadership Circle member. And welcome to everyone who's watching online. So this is our third Leadership Circle Luncheon of 2023, for Bishop Don. And we do these quarterly, as you know, and then in October we'll have the annual dinner for our Leadership Circle members, get comp tables and seats at all this. And some of you sustaining members also. The Leadership Circle members are our principal partners for advancing the life-saving mission of Texas Alliance for Life. And as you know, your donation of $1,200 to $10,000 a year or more has been and will continue to be a critical part of our efforts. Whether to our lobby fund, which allows us to do lobbying in the Capitol, our state political action committee, our federal political action committee, or our education fund, we just truly appreciate your support. Now, today, in August, in Austin, Texas, this is truly a historic moment. The first anniversary of the court's overturning of the terrible Roe v. Wade decision was on June 24th, 2022. And of course, that was the Dobbs decision. And some of us have read that. It's just actually marvelous. And though the opinion is 78 pages long, the result is simple. Nowhere in the Constitution is there a right to abortion. Not in the text of the Constitution, not in the nation's history or in our traditions. It's just not there. And finally, we can have faith. We can restore our faith in the Supreme Court. This is extraordinary times. The authority to regulate abortion rests with the people acting through our elected officials at the state and federal governments. This is just an unmitigated victory. So this is the first year, and we celebrate the thousands of innocent unborn babies saved from abortion in Texas and throughout the country just in this last year. And of course, this is just remarkable for a number of reasons. We're celebrating milestones. 2023 marks the 35th anniversary since the founding of Texas Alliance for Life. By me, I was the founder and a few others. And some of those people on the scene are here sitting at this table back in the last millennium from our days at University of Texas. And the 20th anniversary of the passage of the Prenatal Protection Personhood Act, which puts personhood of the unborn child in criminal and civil law in Texas. The 10th anniversary of the passage of House Bill 2. Remember House Bill 2? The massive crowds at the Capitol, probably some of you were all there, for a law that increased safety standards at abortion facilities and protected babies from 20 weeks and beyond for the first time in Texas. And the first anniversary of the fall of Roe and the beginning of complete protection for unborn children from abortion in Texas. Now, on August 25th, 2022, the Human Life Protection Act went into effect to protect those unborn babies beginning at conception. So in a few days, that'll be the first anniversary of that just landmark law. And that law has proved to be the last stake in the heart of the abortion industry in Texas. Now, every day in our state, all 23 abortion facilities have ceased performing abortions. Those include the 3 in Dallas, the 2 in Fort Worth, the facilities in El Paso, McKinney, Waco, McAllen, the 3 in San Antonio, 8 abortion facilities in Harris and Fort Bend counties, and the 3 here in Austin. All have ceased performing abortions forever, indefinitely. The abortion industry, which has done so much to harm mothers and babies in our state, is crushed. Like all abortion laws in Texas, women on whom abortions are performed cannot be prosecuted. Also, our laws do not allow prosecution of doctors for the treatment of a miscarriage or ectopic pregnancy or other procedures to save the mother's life. And the results have been dramatic. Since last August, reported elective abortions have plummeted from thousands per month to 0. And to prove that the law actually is working, as we said, a relatively small number of abortions have been performed each month to save the mother's life. Okay. As Governor Greg Abbott said, our laws are saving the lives of both unborn babies and pregnant women. Now, the Texas legislature completed its regular session this past May. This was another sensational session. First, there were 10 bills that would add exceptions for abortions on babies conceived in rape or terminal illness of the child or other reasons, add exceptions to the Human Life Protection Act. Well, all those laws were defeated. They were all soundly defeated. Not even a committee hearing. And let me point out, we as pro-lifers believe that Texas does not execute a child because the father was a rapist or because the child has a life-limiting or fatal condition, either born or unborn. Those children deserve protection, and they're getting that protection because of our laws. Now, the legislature passed House Bill 17 to allow a district attorney or prosecutor to be removed from office if he or she categorically refuses to enforce our laws. That's a first in Texas. We have had some problems with that here in Travis County and some other counties, and hopefully this is going to help. The legislature passed several bills to help pregnant or parenting college students. Diapers and women's hygiene products are now tax-free. Measures to prevent funding of any kind for abortion providers and affiliates in the budget were again passed. The legislature appropriated, and Governor Abbott approved a substantial increase, a 65% increase over 2021. And this is what kills some of the reporters who call our office when we point this out. Services for these to help these women carry their unborn babies to term, but also continue for 3 years after the birth of the child. By our count, Texas has some 300 life-affirming pregnancy centers, maternity homes, and adoption agencies, plus countless church-based ministries to help women. For uninsured pregnant women with incomes up to twice the federal poverty level, the legislature appropriated, are you ready for this, $2.35 billion for the state's Medicaid program for prenatal care, childbirth, and follow-up care for mothers and babies for the next 12 months. The Medicaid program pays for more than half of all births in the state of Texas. The legislature appropriated $446 million for other women's health programs. So look, providing alternatives to abortion, and that's what we're doing, that is the best answer to illegal abortion drugs trafficked through the mail. And we thank Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Speaker Dave Phelan, and our pro-life members of the legislature for passing life-saving legislation and prioritizing support for women and babies. And thank you for all of you who donated to our lobby fund, which makes this possible for our staff to be in the Capitol. Now, in San Antonio, there was an attempt to get voters to approve a city charter amendment to decriminalize abortion. Okay, this was called Proposition A. It would have put in their state charter a measure that would prevent police officers from enforcing our pro-life laws, protecting unborn babies and mothers, or even investigating. And we obviously, Texas Alliance for Life, strongly opposed Proposition A. And when that first came on the landscape in January, this past January, I'm telling you, things look really bleak. Okay, that proposed charter amendment had 6 components that had been successful in other cities with electorates similar to San Antonio. So one of the components, as I said, would decriminalize abortion, meaning that the San Antonio police would be banned from enforcing the Human Life Protection Act or other laws, would even be banned from investigating a possible violation. Well, that's just an invitation for illegal abortions in San Antonio on a large scale. Pimps, sex traffickers could set up safe houses and warehouses to perform abortions on those women being trafficked without any ramifications. Not only would innocent unborn children be victims, but women on whom abortions are performed would be victims too. You know, without doctor supervision, these chemical abortion drugs are very dangerous. Dangerous enough with doctor supervision, but just handing them out, it's just disaster. So we, Texas Alliance for Life, did two things. Number one, we encouraged the business community and the police union to engage, which they did in a big way. And we crafted a campaign to identify pro-life voters in San Antonio, educate them about the grave danger of Prop A to unborn children and their mothers, and get those voters out to the polls, all under the radar. We knocked on 1,800 doors. We sent more than 130,000 texts. We called 10,000 households with landlines. We emailed to 8,000 households, and we just did numerous emails. We mailed to 8,000 households, and we did numerous emails. And San Antonio, well, with all these groups working together, the results were sensational. Prop A went down, as you can see, 72 to 28%. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you who donated to our state PAC, because we have to use those funds to defeat these propositions and other state vote-related campaigns. Unborn babies are safe for now. But for how long? Other states that have had these popular votes have seen very poor results on these abortion votes. Since Dobbs, 6 states lost statewide votes. Just last week, there was a vote that had to do with the Ohio Constitution, which would make it difficult to amend it to enshrine abortion. That vote did not go well. That was just last week in Ohio. So how do we counter it and counter this in Texas? How do we stop it? Education. Education. Since the Supreme Court overturned Roe last June, we have learned that education is just as important as ever. And frankly, this is what the pro-life movement's good at. We must educate the public on 3 main points. And you can say, Dr. Joe, what about this, what about this? But I think it comes down to these 3 things. Number 1, the unborn child is a baby deserving of protection. Abortion hurts, not helps. Women, families, society. Texas offers vast resources for women with unplanned pregnancies. So how many people really know these? It's up to us to get that word out. To that end, we have created the Post-Roe Texas TAL video series. It's a series of short videos to educate the public and counter the awful, deliberate misinformation out there. Why short? Well, talking about modern and the online attention span, right? But we can reach them. Now, one of our most popular videos features Dr. Ingrid Skopp. You're going to hear a little bit more from her in a few minutes. And that video has more than 14,000 views on YouTube, 25,000 views on Facebook. And she counters in 4 minutes and 6 seconds the completely false narrative in the media that our pro-life laws somehow prevent women with life-threatening pregnancies from receiving the treatment they need. They need to stay alive. Of course, you know, this myth is just simply not true. So Dr. Skopp just did a fantastic job with that video. Again, thank you. You're going to love these videos, which we're rolling out. We've got a number of really good ones, and you can go to our website. We've got a nice link to it. You're going to want to forward those to friends. I mean, this is how we educate. You bring in guests for this event. bringing new people to your table at the dinners. I mean, that's how we're getting the word out in a big way. So again, thank you to the Leadership Circle members and sustaining members for making these efforts possible. And if you're not a member of either program, well, we do have cards on the table, and it says pledge cards on them, I think, little white card, and you can sign up. Even if you're not going to sign up, just if you can just put your name, address, mobile numbers, and emails. It helps us stay in touch with you. So please remember that you will become part of a critical part of this, what I think is really a great organization. And on those cards, we placed a check if you want more information about how you can, perhaps your employer can match your donation. We've got a number of people doing that. And we've added one. We've added a checkbox to, if you'd like to receive information about planned giving, putting this organization in your will, as quite a number of other people have done. So now I want to introduce our speaker. Dr. Ingrid Skop has been practicing obstetrician gynecologist in Texas for more than 30 years, and she's cared for tens of thousands of women, and this always blows me away, delivered more than 5,000 babies. She's a fellow of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Her research on maternal mortality, abortion complications, and women's health has been published in multiple peer-reviewed journals. She has testified before Congress and in our own Texas legislature. She helped us get that Human Life Protection Act passed. She serves as a senior fellow and director of medical affairs for the Charlotte Lozier Institute. Now, if you're not familiar with them, you need to get acquainted, because they are the premier source of research and information for the pro-life movement. We use them a lot, and Dr. Skop is on there prominently. So please help me welcome Dr. Ingrid Skop.